Okay, so we're out here with Chloe, and I noticed, oh yes, that's what we're doing. I know. I noticed when we were doing some of her obedience out and about that she could use a little bit more work. Good girl. Okay. With some, maybe in the generalization phase of some of her known commands in public spaces where we want to make sure that she's following through with that implied stay. So we were having her go into a down, and I was reinforcing her with food in that position, and then she was getting a piece of food and then kind of like going, maybe we're done, and popping up. So I want to make sure that she understands after we ask her to go into down, for example, that she should maintain that behavior. Even if I've already reinforced her with food, she should still keep that behavior going until I release her. Oh, okay, we're going to reset her real quick. And the other thing, I don't know if we've made a video on, or if I did, I might not have, might have been that one that didn't get uploaded correctly, but we want to make sure that we are starting to replace food when she makes a mistake for really well-known behavior. So she's in the learning phase with sits and downs, especially where we want to fade the food with the no reward marker. So for instance, yeah, I was going to ask you to down. Good girl. So for instance, she's in a down right now. If she were to pop up, previously we were using our no reward marker and kind of using a food as the pressure that we were using to get her back into position. Good girl. Now we kind of want to replace the food as the pressure that we're pairing with that no reward marker, and I'm going to try using the leash a little bit more. So because she should have a nice understanding if we use the no reward marker and apply some kind of foreign pressure. If we applied a pressure that she wasn't so sure about, she should know like breaking down means to go back into down. So good girl. Nice. So I'm just kind of proofing, so right there, I'm going to use my no reward marker and a slight downwards pressure on her leash. I'm going to give her, yeah, good. I'm going to release it when she starts to kind of move. I'm going to reapply it again because we're not quite into that down that we're looking for. Good. I'm going to release it as soon as she starts to move back into that down. And I don't want to reinforce her with food right away. I want to repeat whatever it was that made her break in the first place, keeping in mind that there are distractions and stuff. Good. Around. So just to keep her, because we haven't released her yet, I'm going to use and a downwards pressure. Good. And that was kind of a food lure as well, because even though I didn't have food in my hand, I was kind of gesturing to the ground, but that's okay. Our goal right now is just to be able to fade out the necessity to kind of lure her down with our hand and or food. Good girl. And we want to be able to use leash. Perfect. I'm going to go ahead and release her. We're going to kind of talk about that like leash pressure down. So we do the same thing with sit as well. So instead, if she were to break sit, good. Instead of having to do this to get her back in, we would just use a slight upwards pressure. Good. Sit. Good. So she should have a nice loose leash while she's correct. Good. And if she were to break that sit, I'm just going to use that no reward marker and that slight upwards pressure on the leash. So right there, I'm going to go, Good. I'm going to give her a second. So there's that slight upwards pressure. It's on. Good. And I only turn it off when I think she's about to. So I noticed she was complying. So I released the pressure as soon as she's going back into that sit. So I want to be quick to release that pressure. Good girl. Okay. Nice. So right there, I released her with her release word, not her clicker. We're going to do, so before we start using the leash with the no reward marker, I usually like to start to do this exercise outside of that so they can understand how to yield to that pressure. So what I mean by that is we can just start to introduce that slight downwards pressure with no other cues at all. Good. And we would pair it with the word down after a couple of seconds. So we would apply that pressure and she would feel, and she'd go, what is that supposed to mean? And after a couple of seconds, if she hasn't already gotten the answer, we would say down, and she would go down, and the pressure would come off, and she goes, oh, okay, this means that. Okay. So in that rep, I did that downwards pressure with my hand, maybe good girl. Okay. With my hand on her leash. And then eventually I kind of want to have like a more subtle form of that when we're out and about. So I'm going to just use my toe on the leash or my foot on the leash to create that slight downwards pressure. Good girl. I'm going to release that pressure as soon as she starts to go into that down. Good girl. Nice. Perfect. So good. Nice. She was about to kind of get up because I think she was getting a couple of, we got a couple of reps where she was like, oh, I got a piece of food and now I'm done. So now she's kind of understanding, yeah, that we keep going. Good. 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 Yeah, I saw again where she kind of like fidgeted, like she was going to get up, and then she decided to maintain that. Good girl. Nice. I'm going to go ahead and release her there. Good. And right here, that's another thing that we've worked on good a lot, where we've created this operant response to, oops, right here. And she is in her martingale collar today. So that's kind of nice to see that she's still responding to leash pressure. She's definitely responding to leash pressure a lot more smoothly. I would say the prongs probably helped her with that. But being able to look at a distraction and then orient back to me immediately after. So we want to teach her like checking out what's going on around her and then orienting back to me. That helps interrupt the dog from getting sucked into exciting things and getting too overstimulated or overexcited. So she's doing great with that. So we're just going to practice our loose leash walking back to the studio, but I just kind of wanted to make a little video on replacing that pressure that we're using with that no reward marker and moving away from using any kind of food or luring, because ultimately the dog ends up wanting to like make the food come back into the picture. So they may be tempted to break out of position to make your hand kind of come back in. So we want to make sure that food's only happening when she's maintaining the position or when we release her. So she's doing great. Good job, Chloe.